So let me talk to my people. It is important not to rush into a job offer. I know why you shouldn't rush into a job offer. Oftentimes, there are fine prints that you need to read. You also need to research the salary scale for the job you're accepting. So before you say yes to that job offer, one of the things that I would recommend is that you negotiate your salary. You need to negotiate your salary, even if you have never done it before. It's worth the try. So don't say, this is a position pay or this is what they're offering me, so I'm going to accept it because I'm desperate. And I do know that desperate times call for desperate measures, because when you don't have any money, your bills need to be paid, you need to put food on the table, you're going to take a job offer. I'm not talking about that circumstance. I'm talking about circumstances where you um you're planning to shift job, you're planning to change your job, you've been hunting for a job while you're in a job, right? So there are different circumstances, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from. But even if it's desperate times for desperate measures, shoot your shot. Go and negotiate. You may never know that you can be paid 20% more, 50% more, 35% more than what is being placed on the table. All right. One of the biggest mistakes that most people make is that they treat the job offer as is if it is a gift, and they don't treat it like a business. Remember, the workplace that is hiring you, they see you as a business. They see how you're going to contribute to their bottom line. So you need to treat the job offer as a business and not a gift. Yes, it's a blessing, but it is not a gift. It's a business transaction you're entering into. So a job offer, you need to understand, it's not charity, right? It's an exchange of value. So this is where you bring your skills, you bring your expertise, and your ability to solve problems, while the organization brings compensation, growth, opportunity, and networking. So that's the transaction that is happening. So it's not that you get a job offer and then that is it. You have to see it as a business. And once you start shifting your focus, then you start realizing that, hey, I need to negotiate as I'm entering into this business transaction, because you are going to get a contract. You are going to sign up some documents as you accept this job offer. Then how do you go about now negotiating? Let's delve into that. What I can say based on my own experience is that many people rush into a contract, rush into a job offer out of fear. And I have experienced this before, the fear that, okay, I need to respond quickly. I need to hurry up and accept this offer in the event that they think I'm delaying too much and they're going to offer it to somebody else, or this is my dream organization, so I'm going to hurry up and jump into and sign this contract, right? You don't need to rush. Take your time. I'm not saying take your time. You're not going to take forever, because you don't have forever to respond, right? So fear is what caused some people to rush into contract signing. The fear, as I said, that the offer may disappear, that they won't get it, that they're asking for too much. But when you make your decisions out of fear, it usually costs you later. And I've seen it, I've experienced it. So don't fall into this trap, because fear is not of God. The word of God says that I did not give you the spirit of fear, but I give the spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And when you have a sound mind and you have done your research, you have power. You don't have fear, you have power. And I'm going to show you that you have power. Now, as you're in the job market, as you're looking for work, I want to show you something that the cost of rushing does not benefit you. Now, you may have two persons applying for a job. One person negotiate, the other does not negotiate. When they start off, what happens is that one accept the position immediately, the other one takes time, read through, get some guidance, get some tips from persons within their network, trusted people, and they negotiate. What you find happen with that scenario is that whatever you start with, that's your baseline. So if you start low, follow me now. If you start low, even when you get an increase, you're still going to be at the lower end. So for example, let us use Jamaican dollars in this scenario. You have accepted a position for 2.5 million Jamaican dollars. You did not negotiate. Somebody else was offered 2.5 million. They negotiated, they got 3.2 million. Both persons start working. What happened next is that after a year, they're eligible for a salary increase. They both got 7% increase. Do the math. The person with the 2.5 million will still be way lower than the person who started off at 3.2 million because that person negotiated. You don't want a situation where you start so low, and what I've seen is that when you start low and you change your job, what you find is that you consistently remain low because then you're using your previous salary as a benchmark as you move forward. Now, how do you come out of this situation? One, you need to do your research. You need to research your sector, research what's being paid. If there's a salary scale, understand the scale so you can negotiate within that scale so you don't necessarily start from the bottom of the scale. Also, when you're changing jobs, you also need to research the new organization that you're interested in so you don't use your previous organization as a benchmark. And I personally experienced that. I remember in a scenario where I was working with an entity and I applied somewhere else and I got the job offer. I was very interested in the position, but when I saw the salary package that was being presented, it wasn't one that really excited me. So I replied to the organization, accepting the job offer, and started the negotiation immediately. What that led into a 3 weeks negotiation. And what I can say confidently is I knew the value I was bringing to the table. And with that and my previous experiences, I was able to get more than I was initially negotiating for. So my counter offer, the organization exceeded my counter offer based on the value proposition that I placed on the table. And that is what I'm saying to you. You have to know your worth. You have to do your research and know exactly how to position yourself in negotiating. It's not just about wanting more money, or more benefits. It's also about the value that you're bringing to the organization. Then there are other things to consider as you're negotiating. So it is important to understand alignment. You have to know if the core values of the organization, if they are aligned to your personal values and your morals. It's not in negotiating, it's not always about the money. And I want to make that clear because sometimes you need to get a particular experience and you also need to ensure that there's some alignment. You may see accepting a position as a stepping stone to where you really want to go in life. So there are different ways in which you can negotiate. So you can negotiate for benefits, right? And why am I explaining this to you? A lot of times persons focus on, when we say negotiation, people focus on money. But within a negotiation, there are different aspects. Because what sense does it make for you to negotiate a huge salary package? You're in an organization and you can't enjoy the money because your mental health is deteriorating, your physical health is deteriorating, the job is so stressful, you can't even enjoy the money. That doesn't make sense. Think about it. It doesn't make sense, right? So, in your negotiation, it's not just about money. You also need to factor in the alignment. How does this role fit into my current state? And how does this role help to put me where I plan on going or you intend to go? So, these are some of the other things that you can examine as you're accepting a role. There are other things I want you to factor in. So, salary is just a part of the package, just one part of the package. There are other things about the package that you need to consider in your negotiation. And this is very popular right now, flexibility. The younger generation, they are looking for flexibility. People are no longer looking for jobs where they're going to sit in the job for 15, 20 years, get up every morning, put on clothes and drive, go to work in traffic, come back home in traffic, and you're tired and beat out. 2 hours go, 2 hours come back home. No, people are not looking at. People are looking for flexibility. Hence why you have so many companies now embracing hybrid. Then people are looking for learning opportunities. Is there an opportunity for development and growth where you can go back to school, you can pick up a professional course that the company will pay for. People are also focusing on the workload. Let me tell you, you can get a big job, you can get a big salary package, and you work coming like you can't done. You cannot finish the job, right? And then sometimes the real value in a job is not just a salary. You may have a job that comes with traveling. You get to go to different countries, you learn new languages, you network, you have colleagues all over the world. And that is invaluable. So you need to determine what is it that you're focusing on in your negotiation for your new job offer. And that is why I don't recommend that you rush into a job offer. All right, so with all of this talking, I know that you want to know how to negotiate. True or not true? All right, so we're going to talk about the negotiation. And this is where a lot of people freeze. And here's the truth. Most employers expect you to negotiate. Hence why if you have to do an interview for a position, they will ask you in the interview, typically, what is your expected salary? Always go to the interview prepared for that question. When that question is asked of you, don't rush to answer that question. You now need to ask the interviewers, what's the budget? What's the budget for the position? You'll have a figure in your mind based on your value, based on the market value, based on the role, based on the scope of work. All of these things, have a figure. Don't go blank. Have a figure, but don't show your hand at the interview, especially if it's the first interview. All right, and I'm going to tell you why. So step one in negotiating, I would say, don't accept the offer immediately. Instead, you can say something like this, that thank you for the offer. I'm excited about the opportunity and I'd like some time to review and get back to you. That's it, simple. Keep it simple, keep it professional, keep it powerful. Don't go into too much details. You don't need to go into any details because they expect you to take some time to review. I would say typically, if it's an email, like you get an email offer, I would say acknowledge the email immediately, just to say, thank you for your email, I'm confirming receipt and thank you for the offer. And then you say that, and then you can give it 24 hours to send a follow-up email where you start your negotiation there in 24 hours. Don't let it stay for 48, 72 hours. And so I say you need time, but not forever to start that negotiation. Now, step two is what I just mentioned. put your counter offer in place. All right. Put your counter offer. So for the counter offer, you can say something like, based on my experience and market research, I was expecting something in the range of X amount. You are not demanding what you're doing, you're positioning. So if you would have done your research, you would know, for example, that you're applying for an accounting clerk position, and the company and the market is paying approximately 1.8 or $2 million. You can make a counter offer for 2.2, 2.5 million, not something out of this world. Let us be real, all right? So step 3 is negotiate beyond salary. So the truth is, for some companies, they cannot move the salary based on the budget that they have and the duration of the position. So sometimes there's a cap, there's a fixed budget, and they're not able to move the salary that's being offered. But what you can do in your negotiation, remember earlier I said that the salary is just one part of the package. So the next thing you can do is ask for benefits, flexibility, development opportunity. Everything is a negotiation. And as I said to you at the beginning of this video, that the salary offer is a business transaction. So you need to now maximize in your negotiation what's the most you can get out of this offer. Following? Good. Now, step 4 is the most challenging part, especially if you are not working, especially if you've been trying to get a job for a long time. And step 4 is basically walking away. This is where your power comes from. If you're not willing to walk away, you are not negotiating. What you're doing is accepting whatever is put on the table. And oftentimes, what we see is that persons who just accept what is offered, they are the ones who end up having the most challenges in the workplace, because it's like, in some cases, they treat you the way how they meet you. So you find that there's scope creep, work keep adding on. You're a yes person. You keep coming. There's no boundaries. So I want to leave something with you. Your first salary sets the tone for your financial future. If you start low, every increase is built on that. So don't rush. Research, reflect, pray, negotiate, because your value is not determined by the first number they give you. It is determined by what you're willing to accept. And, as I'm closing, I just want to say this to you. Don't be like some people. They accept anything that is thrown at them. And as they're in the workplace, they're complaining that the salary little bit, it can't do nothing, it now work out, them want more money, they want more benefits. Listen, a lot of you, so the workplace never pay enough from day one, and you still jump but at the work. From day one, say, you not get more than 3% increase, but you to come and make a big noise about you want a big increase. Let's be real, let's be practical. We know the sectors that we work in. We know the sectors that we're interested in. We know our qualification. We know the value that we bring to the table. Let's be smart about it and negotiate. So remember, don't rush to sign that contract. And the salary is only one part of the package. There are other benefits that you get. Some workplaces, you may get a car, you may get travel, you may get health, you may get education, you may get housing. There's so many benefits. It depends on the sector. It depends on the type of job. It depends on whether it's government, private sector, NGO, international organization. It varies. It also varies based on the position that you are in. And that is why it's important to do your research and do your negotiation as you get the offer. Don't just rush and accept the first offer, because nobody, and when I say nobody, I mean zero, zero. Nobody is going to offer you the maximum amount in your contract as a first offer, because they expect you to negotiate. If this message helped you, please share it with someone who you know who is job hunting right now. Also, let me know if you've ever accepted a job offer too quickly, and drop a comment and tell me what you've learned from that, if you've learned anything, and what would you have done differently now that you have gone through that experience. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and just share this video with your network. Sometimes you may never know who is out there looking a job, and this video can help them in negotiating a better package as they accept this job offer.